What's up, everybody? So within traditional manufacturing, you generally have a lot of molds laying around. These molds might be based in your factory wherever it happens to be, or it might be based somewhere overseas where another company actually kind of controls it. But if you're manufacturing products, very rarely do products carry through for the very long term. So you're constantly having to create new batches of tooling, have it refined, verified, built out, and then stored. And then if you ever want to revamp a product, you have to pull those molds back out of storage and then turn them on again. It's a very cumbersome process. And if you're a company with many different SKUs, you are very often having to manage dozens, maybe even hundreds of molds, each of which costs somewhere between $200,000 and $100,000. So you have a radical capital investment that is not always utilized. It simply sits as an asset stored around until your product changes, and then that asset value goes to zero because you can no longer manufacture that product. Now, 3D printing can obviously get rid of the tooling cost just by not having the tooling ever, but it can take it even a step further because very often when you're manufacturing with traditional methods, you have to make a component be many different separate pieces. If you're doing like a clamping mechanism, you have the hinge and the two halves that come together with a pin. So you have to mold two separate pieces and then you actually have to assemble it. What 3D printing is actually able to do though is since it has so much freedom in what it's able to make, you're actually able to combine components. So a really good example of this is actually a rocket nozzle. In the old days when they made rocket nozzles, they had to cool them. So they had to run thousands of channels down the side of these rocket nozzles, which are thousands of individual pieces. But now, with the modern era, with 3D printing, many rocket nozzles, in fact, coming up, most rocket nozzles are actually 3D printed because they're able to embed the channels into the actual geometry of the part itself. So they've gone from thousands of parts to one. And that's possible because you can create these impossible geometries. Now, if those were all plastic components, you would have gone from thousands of molds to simply one 3D printed part, which eliminates all of that capital expense up front. So not only does 3D printing eliminate molds if you were just remaking the existing pieces that you already had, you're actually reducing the overall part count and reducing the number of individual parts that you need. And this has even more downstream benefits because now if you're reducing the number of parts you need, you are reducing the cost of your inventory system, and you are reducing the amount of assembly that you have to do. And if you're really consolidating, you might be able to reduce the external suppliers that you need, because if you have that little clamp with a pin in the middle, you have to have a supplier for the pin. Whereas if you can just design the clamp to no longer have the pin, that's no longer necessary. So the value of 3D printing compounds the more you use it. Not only does it just eliminate the cost of a mold one time, and then give you greater flexibility in the future. But it can eliminate the cost of all your molds. It can consolidate many parts into a single piece so that you went from 10 or 100 or a couple molds to one single printed part with no molding costs at all. And then long term, you have all these downstream benefits that make your company more efficient and more flexible while also still allowing you to create new products at a faster clip because you also do not have to wait for the feedback of a molded part to ship across an ocean to you. So if you are looking at manufacturing a new product, you really should consider 3D printing. It is now capable of creating real good quality final products and saves your organization so much waste around traditional tooling and traditional processes. If you want to know more about 3D printing, please reach out to us. We do mass production 3D printing for a living. So if you want to get a quote or have us do a design review or a consultation in what you're doing inside of your organization, we are happy to talk to you. Have a great day, everybody.